In Chapter 1, we identified two primary questions that management accounting attempts to answer. The first question was, are we profitable? And the second question was, is this job or product profitable? To answer the first question, are we profitable, we found that we must apply the matching principle and allocate costs over time. To answer the second question, is this job or product profitable, we found that in addition to allocating costs over time, we must also allocate costs across products or jobs. The primary focus of Chapter 2 is on the allocation of overhead costs in a job order costing environment. Recall from Chapter 1 that a manufacturing a product involves three types of costs: direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead. Direct materials are raw materials that become an integral part of the finished product and that can be physically and conveniently traced to it. Direct labor consists of that portion of the labor cost that can be easily traced to a product. And manufacturing overhead consists of all the other manufacturing costs, such as utilities, maintenance and repairs on production equipment, depreciation and insurance on manufacturing facilities, manufacturing supplies, salaries for supervisors, janitors, and security guards. In a job order costing system, direct materials and direct labor are traced directly to individual jobs. Manufacturing overhead, on the other hand, must be allocated to jobs on the basis of a predetermined overhead rate. Accurately allocating manufacturing overhead is important for two reasons. First, we need to determine the profitability of existing jobs. The second, and perhaps more important reason, is to accurately cost or price potential future jobs. In bidding on jobs, it's important that we can accurately quantify direct material and direct labor costs. In addition, it's equally important to estimate the overhead costs associated with the job. If we are unable to accurately estimate and allocate overhead costs, we are likely to suffer from a winner's curse. That is, most of our jobs or most of our winning bids will be on unprofitable jobs. This is because underestimating our overhead costs will result in lower bid prices, which in turn means we are likely to win more bids for what ultimately turn out to be money-losing jobs. On the other hand, consistently overestimating overhead costs will result in higher bid prices. Higher bid prices will translate into fewer winning bids, and we will miss out on more profitable jobs. If we weren't concerned with product pricing in bidding on new jobs or in preparing interim financial reports, we could allocate overhead on the basis of an actual overhead cost. That is, at year end, we could calculate an actual overhead rate based on actual overhead costs and actual activity levels. Nonetheless, due to the nature of indirect costs, this still would not ensure completely accurate or true job costing. By the very nature of indirect costs, all we can do is allocate or assign them to jobs. We will never know the true cost of a product or a job. However, since we are interested in setting prices, that is, bidding on new jobs, and preparing interim financial statements, we must allocate overhead on the basis of a predetermined overhead rate rather than an actual overhead rate. Our predetermined overhead rate is based on estimated total overhead cost and an estimated level of activity. And these estimates are made before the year takes place, hence the word predetermined overhead rate. Manufacturing overhead, then, is applied to jobs using the estimated predetermined overhead rate multiplied by the actual activity level, or when setting prices and bidding on jobs, the predetermined overhead rate is multiplied by an expected activity level. So again, we'll use our predetermined overhead rate to assign costs to completed jobs by multiplying that predetermined rate by actual activity levels, or if we're bidding on jobs, we'll multiply that predetermined overhead rate based on the estimated activity level that we expect on a particular job or product. Again, to answer our first question, are we profitable, we must apply the matching principle and allocate costs over time. To answer our second question, is this job or product profitable, we must not only allocate costs over time, but we must also allocate costs across jobs and products. We use a predetermined overhead rate to allocate or apply manufacturing overhead costs to jobs or products.